Hey folks, welcome back. We got this Ram pickup in here, 2016, so 2500, and with the dual climate control, this thing's got it seems to change on the driver's side. You know, it'll go really cold, but it will only get to about lukewarm, whereas the passenger side will get, you know, really warm and everything with the engine completely up at operating temperature. I don't think we have any blend door actuator or the actual blend door itself motor problems. I think we have a problem with a partially plugged heater core, and that's only just kind of a theory that I've developed right now, and that's kind of what I'm bringing you along with this video to prove it, and that's what we're going to do. So let me show you the actuator and all that kind of stuff first, and then we'll go into my theory a little bit, and then we're going to try flushing the heater core and see if that might make any difference. Okay, so the actuator lives right here behind the glove box, and it's really easy to remove it. And that's it right there. So what we have here is the actual, like, there's two screws that remove this blend door actuator out of its little home here, which I got. You can remove it like that. It's still plugged in, but I'm just removing it for the sake of, you know, this is what goes there. Let's see if I can show this at the same. All right, some of these LED lights are so bright. Let's see if I can get a good light in here, better than I got. Yeah, that's quite a bit better. Old school drop light to the rescue. Love these things. It actually has just a regular LED bulb screwed into it rather than an incandescent one, but I mean, you can see obviously the difference it makes. But here is the you know what it turns. This is in the cold position, that's up in the hot position. You can see this one's working from lock to lock. It also works with the actuator from lock to lock, or I guess stop to stop, however you want to look at it. And it changes, you know, and it'll get lukewarm here, and it'll get extremely cold here, obviously bypassing, you know. So let me kind of go draw up on paper what I think my theory is and what might be happening, and we're gonna see if we can prove it. Okay. So with this lovely picture right here, you know, I don't know the way to do it. I've not had one of these HVAC modules, boxes, whatever you want to call it, apart in something this new. I've done like the 2003, 4, maybe 7, somewhere in there. A little bit different style of dash and everything. But I believe that the heater core sits in here like this, you know, because there is the hoses right back in there for it. We'll get our old school drop light again. We got that hose right there coming off the top of the head. I assume that's going to be the inlet. You know, it's going to go, you know, your hottest coolant on the top of the head going this way, and then out, you know, back in there, which is really hard to see. Get the camera down in there. And then you got this one with the silver, whatever you call it, that stuff, you know, that's coming out, going right in, down into here. I believe that's coming from the water pump, bringing, you know, new coolant, you know, into like the EGR cooler. When I say new coolant, I mean coolant that's just been cooled out of the bottom radiator hose, which is over here on this side of the engine, and up through like this. So I assume that it's circulating like this, and that the heater core sits in here somewhat like this, maybe at an angle, maybe like this. I don't think it's like this or anything like that. So I kind of drew this picture right here as if we were looking at it from the side. And the way that I know this works is the blend door actuator for the driver's side is over here on this side, And then the blend door actuator for the passenger side, if you're having issues with that, unfortunately, that's a removal of the dash to get to any of that type of stuff. That actuator and all that kind of stuff I don't think is accessible because it's on the back side of, you know, I'm not 100% sure, but I really don't think it is accessible unless you remove the dash, and then you can remove the HVAC box a little bit or whatever. But you know, what if, so we've got our inlet right here, so that brings the coolant in through all of these coils like this, and then eventually makes its way out. Inlet and outlet are usually always kind of together like this. So what if, you know, you got your plenum basically is divided in half, instead of having one big door, you know, which would be one that doesn't have the dual climate control zone, would have just one big door, so you may not ever notice this particular problem. But what if, you know, like this is the passenger side because we're closer to the hoses right here. What if this side over here is plugging up and you're getting less? That's why you're getting the lukewarmness going on here. This side's still pretty good, and that's why it's completely full. That's my theory. You know, that's what I think might be, you know, going on here. And so what we're going to end up doing is I'm going to disconnect this hose right here, and we're going to basically just pressurize some, you know, water, whether I'm going to do it with a pump or just my garden hose or something like that. You know, when I mean garden hose is I got a deal right there, you know, in the shop and everything, and just pressurize this, backflowing it this way, unhooking that hose and sticking a hose on it to drain over here into a bucket, and see if we can, you know, back flush this thing the opposite way, and then introduce it maybe in some radiator flush cleaner or something of the sort, and go ahead and do that. That's what I think I'm going to try to do, and see if we can get this thing to get a lot warmer inside on the driver's side. So yeah, anyways, that's, like I said, that's my theory. I'm not sure if I'm 100% correct on that, but it's worth giving it a try to see if we can cure this. So we'll keep on going. Yeah, so now look at this. We got almost 120 degrees coming out. This is just high idle. Engine temperature's only at 177. This is before we probably could barely get 80 degrees out of it. Yeah, it's climbing even higher. Right side's a little bit more. Now the temperature's up here to 181. They're both pretty equal. There's on the right side about 120, 130, almost 130. Engine temp 186. Like I said, this is just in the shop here at high idle with the cruise control. Switch this over to the driver's side, but it is just as hot, just based on the feel. Well, there's a couple, 2 or 3 minutes on the driver's side. Just keeps it going up even more. Now the temperature's up here to 188. So yeah, it's looking good. All right, so basically with that, I pretty much, you know, I came up with a theory, and I kind of, I feel like I proved the theory that was definitely the cause, because it just appeared that the actuator was working correctly, and it didn't feel like there was anything going wrong in there. And we just thought we'd go ahead and try something that's fairly easy to do, which was, you know, back flush the heater core out of there. What I did is like I said, I had a hose, and I had it all the way up to here. So after I pumped some water, you know, back through it, which is using, you know, this hose right here, because this is normally water would be going this direction, so I'm going to push it that direction. into the heater core and let it come out of that hose. And then I had the hose and I had it way up here like this, so I poured in what the hell there was stuff that I poured in there. Hold on a second. Some of this stuff right here, you know, just some radiator cleaner and all that kind of stuff. Just kind of, you know, dumped it in there. Had the hose up here. I kind of like stuck it through here just so it would stay, and then just let that stuff, you know, go down into the heater core and just let it sit there for, you know, 10 or 15 minutes or whatever, you know. And then I blew some air through it and then blew the water back through it with the garden hose and this little setup I got here, which I've flushed heater cores out before with something with that, other ones before. But anyways, yeah, and then put it back together and topped off the cooling system. We didn't lose much coolant out of this deal. I think I only topped off not even half a gallon, and everything like that. So yeah, and then like I said, we got, you know, with this thing just at high idle in this shop, I'd say it's probably, I keep my shop fairly cold while I'm working. I'd say it's probably like 55, 60 degrees in here, give or take. And with this thing high idling in here and the engine getting up to close to 190, we had about 130 degrees coming out of both vents for both sides, with the system set on its highest setting. And anyways, that worked out really good. So the heat seems to be working a lot better. And my theory is, you know, half the heater core was plugged up like I had on my drawing right here. You know, you got one blend door on this side and one blend door on this side, and I'm thinking maybe that this other side over here closest to the, you know, passenger cabin in here was just a little bit plugged up and just wasn't working near as efficiently, you know, and this side being over here, I don't know. I mean, that's, like I said, I'm not 100% on my theory here like this. If I had a heater core that I, you know, maybe someday in the future, if I ever get one, you know, that actually needs a heater core replaced, you know, like this one, they're just going to take it and drive it for a while, whatever. But if it gets to the point where, you know, I'd either replace a heater core on this pickup or another one or something like that of this generation, I'll, you know, look at it more closely and, you know, go from there. So there could be an update with this video sometime in the future, depending on whether I get one in or not that has a problem with the heater core that would need to have it replaced. So anyways, this was just an interesting one that I thought I'd definitely glad I decided to go about and figure out the way I did, rather than, you know, saying, oh yeah, let's pull the dash out and, you know, find out there was nothing wrong with that blend door, which is probably what would have happened. By then you probably would have replaced the heater core and it would have fixed the problem, but maybe you wouldn't know. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm just glad that everything happened the way it did. So hopefully it helps you out with something. And thanks for watching.